great people. Don't be explaining yourself to folks who will never understand what you coming from, baby. Huh? Don't be explaining it. The fact that you may have to explain yourself is probably because you're explaining yourself to people who are not meant to understand. Huh? And that could be about anything, but I'm mainly talking about relationships, man. We got this idea, this, you know what I'm saying, about this traditional love, man. What you do. We think we got to date folks. Date the person, date, you know what I'm saying, a few times, take them out, you know what I'm saying? You got to be well established, you got to be all this stuff, man. How, achieve so much before, you know what I'm saying, you meet the person that's for you. You need to have your own car, your own house. You never know how this thing gonna work, baby. You never know how the flow gonna really turn this thing. How the process is gonna have this thing to, how the process is working. How God is working, man. God works mysteriously. It may not go that way every time, baby. That's what I'm saying. Don't be so caught up in your plans that you don't consider that it's something greater than that. It's something greater than your ego. Let me say that again. It's something greater than our ego, baby. Huh? Like it or not. It's not about what you do, especially when somebody is for you, if they are a partner, what are you really doing that they're not doing or that they're not doing that's going to align and blend? Both of y'all are more likely going to be doing something that's going to align, it's going to blend. Don't get caught up into material. Don't get caught up. I'm not saying lack. I'm not saying, you shouldn't be doing nothing with you. I ain't talking about that. So focus on a person or a relationship. You ain't doing nothing for yourself. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying stop explaining yourself to people who may not understand where you're coming from, because it's deeper than that. It's deeper than what they know. It's deeper a lot of times than what you may know, what you're able to explain anyways. It could be something you're still sorting through. Don't box love in to a standard. Real love is not about a standard, because that's the thing, baby. You have all these standards just to fall for somebody who ain't be none of them. You will have all these standards just to fall for somebody who ain't be none of them. Come on. Get out your ego some. It's not about no superficial thing. We done with that. Huh? It's something greater than your ego, your superficial mindset. This traditional way of living, this traditional love where you got to be achieving so much. You got to have money. You got to have a job. You got to have your own car. That can come with it. That can come. But sometimes, you know what I'm saying? There's a part you play on your own, or both of y'all play on your own. But then there's some things, a lot of things you may not achieve until y'all come together. Huh? I'm not saying just be sitting around waiting on the person and not doing. I ain't talking about that. So don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. But what I am saying is, like I said before, stop explaining yourself to people who may not understand, who may never understand where you're coming from, except the person who's actually for you. Huh? Because like I said, the fact that you may have to explain is because they're not meant to understand. Even if they can, and maybe they can understand. Who said, let's say they can, they will understand. So what? That doesn't mean you have to explain it. Let people hear by seeing. Huh? It's not about money. It's not about material. Especially when it's a selfless love involved. It's not about your ego. Huh? Money can be involved. Material can be involved, but that's not the essence. That's not the basis of it. Of a real relationship, man, or whatever you want to call it. A real connection, a real union, baby. These unions that are coming together, baby, it's a new relationship kind of relationship. We getting back to the real thing, man. You about to see what true love, what real love is really about. And it's beautiful. It's unions coming together, man. that's going to provide that example and present that example that people need as it pertains to love, as it pertains to relationships. And not even necessarily just in one particular aspect of love, but also when it comes to just, family. And let me tell you something, baby. If you got family and friends who don't accept or you ain't happy, they probably really ain't your family or friends. Who cares? Real love doesn't seek people, doesn't seek approval, even from people who are happy for you. Because when you really decide, when you know where you're supposed to be, where you need to be, and you decide that's where you want to be, when you know where you need to be, baby, and you ready to surrender to that, can't nobody tell you nothing. You don't need nobody's validation or approval. Ain't nobody finna stop that, baby. You going where you need to be. You don't need nobody's approval, not your parents, your family, or your friends. If you got to let them go, you will. You will do that. Real love doesn't seek approval even from those who are happy for you, let alone those who are not. When you really ready to decide, when you realize, when you really want something, no, I'm going to go after that regardless. I don't care who like it or not. It doesn't matter if you like it. It definitely doesn't matter if you don't. It's not going to stop me. Please don't feel like you got to explain yourself, baby. Let's be done with that. Let's be done with that. There's something greater than people's opinions and their expectations and their standards. And these be the same people, baby, who ain't even happy in their own relationships. You ain't made peace in your own relationship. And you got the nerve to try to tell me about mine. Or tell somebody else about theirs. What's best for them? You don't even know what's best for you. You all over the place, baby. Go after somebody that don't need you just to be upset because you can't get them to come home. You can't get their attention. Usually when you don't need some, baby, that's why you rotten. Because when you don't need something, it's nothing to do with it. It's not useful. When you got food in the house that you don't need, guess what it does? If it's sitting around for so long, it's gonna rotten. Fruit or food. It will rotten because it's holding up, it's taking up too much space. You don't need it. You already got enough stuff. Maybe that's why a lot of people have rotten. They have gone spoiled. You have spoiled. You have ruined because you only want to be where you ain't needed. Where you ain't even useful, where you're not even necessary. So please stop explaining yourself to people. Much love.